Welcome, gentlemen. How you doing?
Doing amazing.
Very blessed, man. Blessed and highly favoured.
Blessed and highly favoured?
Yeah.
I like that. So before we start, I'm going to ask you guys what you guys have for breakfast.
I don't eat breakfast. I eat motivation for breakfast. No, I don't eat breakfast. I can go into why, but that's a different topic. I'm telling you about marketing.
Okay. Why?
Why? Well, to be fair, actually, the marketing play on this. Breakfast, most important meal of the day, is actually a marketing tactic. It's not actually true.
Okay.
You can look it up. A lot of studies suggest that breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. So, for that reason, I do something called intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
So I think that's really powerful for me. Where like I feel like when you eat, as you guys know this, a lot of times you might eat a meal, and a lot of times breakfast, you guys, is not breakfast. You're eating Cocoa Pops, like sugar. That's dessert. So what it does, it makes you more tired for your day. So you might find that you're eating 5 loaves of toast or eggs. You wonder why you're tired. It's because you're baking on all that hard carbohydrates, all that food. So you get more tired if anything. So I think I'm more full of energy when I'm in a fasted state. Final thing as well, I know a bit off topic. Humans are built to feast and fast. We're built. If you look at our ancestors, we used to go through periods where we used to feast. Then when we would hunt for food, we would fast. We're built to feast and fast, which is why when people work out, they have to work out in a fasted state, because our bodies are built to feast and fast, not to snack all through the day. So fasting is definitely beneficial.
All right, so you just got a bit of biology and some history in there as well.
There you go.
Jonathan.
Me, I don't eat breakfast either.
What's your reason?
For me, it's similar to Austin, but I find I perform better when I don't eat breakfast. And of course, breakfast is a marketing play. Like Austin didn't really go into it, but the reason that they said breakfast is the most important meal of the day is just so they can sell more breakfast-related items. And I think it was even in the Good Health magazine. Imagine it was in a Good Health magazine. That's how good of a market. That's how kind of like, I guess, unrestricted things were back then.
Yeah.
It's in the Good Health magazine. They're telling you to eat breakfast. All these things that are sugary, fatty, things like that are really going to help you. They're telling you to eat all of it. Exactly. It's like not even a social contrast. It's just like a thing of society.
Yeah. They
just say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You have to have it to get big and strong, have all this energy. I'm getting big and strong and I don't eat breakfast. Cool. I don't need that. I work out in a fasted state, as Austin says. And I find that I perform better a lot more in the morning than I did before. Because after I had breakfast, I was just heavy. I was just like, your body has to use 100%. Your energy to do, your body has to use the energy it has to do one of a few things. You could either, say for example, you're going to bed, right? And that's why I don't eat past 10 p.m. You go into bed, your body has the option to either use the energy to repair your body for the next day, or it has the option to use the energy to actually break down the food that you just ate like an hour or so ago. So that's why I stopped eating at like 10 p.m. But it's the same thing in the morning as well. I use the energy that I have to actually do whatever I need to do, get my most important tasks out of the way. I think we even talked about this last time. Your income producing activities, the IPAs, at the start of the day. Get those done, then I eat after 11 a.m.
Okay.
What's so profitable? Telling people to eat twice a day, feast and fast, or tell people eat breakfast, snack through the day, eat lunch, eat dinner. It's better for the economy to tell people to eat more. That's why they do it. It's not because of our health. If you look at ancestors, do you really think they had option to go to Sainsbury's for a snack? They didn't. Yeah. They would feast. They would hunt for their food. They would catch it. They would feast. They might go a day, maybe even 2 days without eating. Yeah. And then they'll eat again. We're built to feast and fast, which is why obesity is taking the rise over recent years as well, because of we're not built this way. We're built to feast and fast.
Honestly.
Gosh, I didn't expect this.
This is what I say, but listen to your body though. Like it's one thing saying us saying this, but you listen to your body. When you eat that Cocoa Pops in the morning, 5 slices of toast, how do you feel? Yeah. And don't lie to yourself, be honest. How do you feel?
It's true. It's true. When you have that big English breakfast, you're knocked out, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
You're knocked out.
Ready to go back to sleep and you just woke up.
That is very, very true. So, Austin, who are you and what do you do? Why have we got you on here today?
Well, first and foremost, the reason why I'm able to speak what I spoke earlier is I got a degree in genetics. I don't speak about it a lot, but I've actually got a degree in genetics. I got 2-1 from uni, graduated last year. Done. Aside from that degree, I run a company, one of the largest networking companies in the UK called the Gen Z Club, where we got a massive community of Gen Zs, around 50,000 Gen Zs, and we basically provide monthly network events for our Gen Zs and conferences to help our Gen Z audience connect with each other, learn, grow. We've been across the whole UK, from Brighton to Birmingham to Loughborough to London. So we do that. So we got conferences Saturday, for example, 400 people, all about real estate. And because our community's got so big now, a lot of companies work for us to target Gen Zs. So we work with lots of Barclays, Lloyds, Savills to help them target Gen Zs, not just within our community, but also tactics-wise as well. So that's led us to, having thousands of attendees, being nominated, ranked as top 100 SME businesses in the UK for 2023. And also we were finalists for the British Business X Awards last year as well. So, it's been a great whirlwind, but yeah, that's a bit about me and what I do.
Yeah.
CEO of the Gen Z Club.
Fantastic. And Mr. Jonathan Reid, who are you?
Me, Jonathan Reid. I run a personal branding and podcasting agency, and we target high-level entrepreneurs and startups. That's kind of our bread and butter. And we help them to launch, scale, and automate their podcasts and their personal brands so that they can take over in the industry, become authorities in their niche. Yeah. And then also what I do is I run the Purpose-Led Club with my friend, Coach Klutze. He's a confidence and like public speaking coach. And of course me, I do my business thing and I speak on that in our community as well. And then we run events similar to Austin actually as well, the networking events and also live podcasts too. We have a Gen Z audience also. Actually more so Gen Z to millennial audience, because our audience actually does span. We've seen it in our data actually on our podcast platforms and such. It's called Purpose-Led, if I haven't said that already. And then
you said it like 3 times.
I said it 3 times.
I noticed that.
And we also speak at different organizations, like companies like IBM and what was the other one? Microsoft. And we speak at universities. We're going to be doing LSE soon. I haven't told you about that, but that's going to be really good to speak at that university. And we speak at schools as well. So we just inspire as many people as possible. Our main thing is just impact, right? That's our main thing.
Yeah. No, we've today's show should be really, really good because it's all about Gen Zs. And before we go further, who are Gen Zs?
Good question. I think that's a good place to start. A lot of people don't know this. So Gen Z is between the ages of 12, 25. Could be give or take a few years. So it's a generation. Like you've got boomers, you've got millennials. Gen Z is a generation between the age of 12, 25.
And I'm going to shoot this question to you. What are the characteristics of a Gen Z?
I'd say someone who, I was going to say has a short attention span, but then I feel like we all have a short attention span. Yep. But I believe the characteristics of someone with Gen Z, their technology is their best friend. Like they've grown up with technology. From when they were young, they might have had a phone in their hands. Yep. For me in Austin, I wouldn't say I had a phone in my hand from when I was young. Maybe when I was like maybe 8 or something like that. I had a phone in my hand, and then the phone's upgraded as I got older as well. They're very familiar with technology, so they know the kind of tricks that people throw out there for them to kind of grab onto. So they're wise to that. Yeah. That's how I see Gen Z. And they're also people who are very opinionated. Gen Z are extremely opinionated, and they're willing to make waves. They are willing to make waves. Sorry, they're not trying to stick in with the norm and all that kind of stuff. They're trying to forge new paths, and they're doing it as well. We're doing it, matter of fact, because we're part of Gen Z too. Yeah. Gen
Z are a group of people that understand their options in life. They understand that back in the day, there were gatekeepers. You know, you might not, if Channel 4 said you can't get on their program, or a TV show said no, we're not having you, they can't be seen. Now they know they can open their phone, they can post a video on TikTok, and be seen by 1 million people in the next 12 hours. Yeah. So there are people that understand that how connected they are to the world, understand their options, understand their abundance, and there's a bit of friction between that. But in the day, like if if you keep them happy, they can be very beneficial.
Yeah. I really appreciate the breakdown, just so people get an understanding of the audience that we're about to talk about. And going back to the point you just said about a generation who grew up on technology. I can remember one of my close friends, his baby boy, 2 years old, has an iPad and knows how to fully use an iPad, knows how to a 2-year-old knows how to get to YouTube, how to get to the photo app, how to take selfies. A 2-year-old, right? When I was a 2-year-old, well, to be honest, I was a smart 2-year-old. Never lie. That's when I learned how to play drums. So
yeah. Oh, you play drums too?
Drums. If I walked into your house, I saw a 2-year-old playing drums, I think I'm in the Matrix. Something.
No. That's when I learned how to play drums.
I play drums as well. I didn't. Yeah.
What, you can play properly.
Yeah. I can play proper drums.
Okay. We can talk about it.
Definitely.
That's cool. So, what are the key differences between Gen Zs and other generations in terms of consumer behavior? So these are one of the new questions that I said. So what are the differences between Gen Zs and other generations in terms of the way they consume information, consumer behavior, the way they interact with stuff?
I think the most obvious difference is literally like the platforms and the streams and what are the mediums that are used to make them aware of you. So I know back in the day, heavily TV, but I think Gen Z are heavily social. So to link in with this whole topic of marketing, Gen Z are heavily social. So even the point where I was at the expert the other day, and they gave a really interesting statistic about how majority of Gen Zs, they look at your Instagram page before they look at your website. So when they want to buy from you, they're more concerned with your Instagram page than your website. So if you haven't posted since 2021 or 2019, you might put somebody off. So Gen Z are people who are heavily engaged in social and look for social. Like you look at TikTok. I think TikTok's like the second most used search platform in the world. I think YouTube's up there as well.
Yeah.
Not just Google anymore.
Yeah.
So
YouTube second.
you know. So yeah. So I feel like Gen Z is the mediums in which to reach them. I feel like in the way all humans all have things that we all have similarities on, but the mediums used to interact with them now and the manner in which you interact with them have changed.
And they're influenced by different things. Influencers. So influencers are new celebrities. So it used to be a thing of like, okay, if a celebrity says something, everybody does it. But now it's an influencer, someone who kind of looks like them, someone that they can relate to, that they're listening to, and then they're actually making their buying decisions, their purchasing decisions off of. It's people that look like them and have a small to medium to large kind of following, but it doesn't have to be a celebrity. Yeah. And that's kind of like what it was back in the day.
Yeah. So when it comes to there's a game that I like to play called the Persona game, and I'll explain a bit more about that. But I want to kind of take, because the people that are listening, they could be, for example, rooftop cleaners, or they could be people that make hair scrunchies, right? I want to ask you how these different people can be running their marketing, or what things that they should be focusing on. But I'll bring that on later. So how does technology influence the purchasing decisions of Gen Zs?
What do you mean by
sense?
Yeah.
So how does technology? So you just made a point up there about websites, and Gen Zs may not necessarily even think about going to someone's website, but they will go to Instagram first of all, or maybe TikTok. How does, with that being said, how does technology, whether physical technology or software, influence the purchasing decisions of Gen Zs?
I'd say, I think I need more specificity with the question.
Okay. So you just made a point there before about influencers influencing people.
Yes.
Right. That means that they have seen somebody that they can relate to, someone that looks like them, someone that sounds like them, someone from the same block as them, right? For example, Rio Ferdinand. Rio Ferdinand does Vibe with Five. He's got his own YouTube channel. Even though Rio Ferdinand isn't a Gen Z, even though he's probably on the upper echelon of a millennial, right? Because he comes from, let's say, is he from Peckham? Or wherever he's from,
South,
right? Yeah. He knows how to communicate with the people from his audience.
Got it.
Right.
So I think.
So how, with that in mind, right, or using that as a bit of a scope, or how does technology or influence how Gen Zs buy stuff or do stuff?
I think this is the problem. I feel like we're looking at things wrong. It's not the technology that influences it. Technology is the medium. It's just a different medium. That makes sense. So I feel like people think Gen Zs are obsessed with, they make decisions off technology. They don't. Technology, they make decisions off the content, off the influence used, the demographic, all those things. The technology is a medium that can be used to help effectively reach them. That makes sense. So when you say things like how the technology have effects, same way how the magazines have effects back in the 1960s or books in the 1500s, it's like, it's not the magazine had an effect, it's the content within the magazine. It was the content within the books. So with technology, it's not, the technology allows it to be seen, but it's the content before that. So I would argue that it doesn't influence it. It helps you become more loud and vocal about what you do. So I would say it has an impact in terms of awareness, but I don't think they'll purchase this off you because you use TikTok. TikTok isn't what's going to make them buy from you. TikTok's a platform. What's going to make them buy from you is the content that you put out within TikTok. I feel like that's the confusion we have with Gen Z. Is like, oh, there's technology based. No, it's what's on the technology that's making them addicted to social media, making them buy from you. It's what's on your Instagram page, what videos you are posting, what influence you are using, what your website looks like. Those are the things that are going to drive sales, not just being on technology. Yeah.
So it's a vehicle. But 100%. Not necessarily the fuel to help people get over the line.
Exactly. Same way that TV was a vehicle. Same way that magazines were a vehicle. Same way that books were a vehicle. Same way that billboards were and still are a vehicle. It's a vehicle. So you got to switch from I got to be on Instagram to what content am I producing on these platforms.
So the content is the fuel. In that scenario.
So let's sit on this for a bit. So you're telling me that as a business owner, I've heard that that, okay, let's start the persona game. All right. My name is Robbie Rob.
Hi, Robbie Rob.
Right. Cheers, mate. I'm Robbie Rob. I am a digital marketing genius. That's what my mom tells me.
Okay.
Right. But I'm trying to get myself. I've worked with some cool. I've worked with some charities. Worked with some schools. But I want to now grow my brand and grow my appeal so that in 10, 15 years time, my agency that I want to now build is still being used by the new people who are going to be making decisions, which are Gen Zs, right? And I've heard that this platform, TikTok or Instagram, are the places that positionally I need to be. These are the vehicles that I should be using, right? So what approach should Robbie Rob use to maybe build content? What kind of things should I be focusing on? What sort of content do I need to do? And before I do that content, what do I need to be thinking?
So you're saying that Robbie Rob had an agency that was predominantly for an older demographic, more traditional, so for schools, colleges, and now he wants to reach a younger demographic. First one I'll ask is, why does he want to reach? Like, if he's making good money, I feel that's a big issue. Like, sense that cool, Gen Zs target Gen Zs, but do you need to? Like, there's many markets out there, and don't just. I feel like you can suffer from shiny object syndrome, saying that, oh, he's doing this, I have to do it. No, that works for him, not necessarily you. So if we're making a good living from targeting, doing what you're doing, you don't need to stop. Essentially, But if you was really, really wanted to, I would say, of course, get on these platforms. So end of the day, it's not rocket science. I feel like let's not overcomplicate things. I'm not saying anything that isn't common sense. If you got majority of Gen Zs on TikTok, why would you go to Facebook to find them? If they are all there, it's like if you want some fish and there's 2 ponds. One pond has about 20% of the fish you're looking for, other got 60%. Which pond are you going to? 60% pond. So with TikTok, if you know that majority of Gen Zs are on TikTok and not on MySpace, it's just common sense. So when we say go on TikTok, I don't get paid by TikTok. I'm just using my common sense to know, that majority of people are on this platform. Instagram knows. So cool, let me start there. And let me find where they're at. Cool, now that I'm there, now I've got to think about what content the Gen Z want to resonate with.
So what are they already resonating with? What's already working? What's already got the views? What's already got the engagement? What profiles are doing pretty well? And you can also display your skills as a digital marketing specialist or digital marketing. What did you say?
My mom calls me a digital marketing guru.
Digital marketing guru. As a guru, you have to show your guruness. You have to show your knowledge.
That's what I was concerned about. Like, you're a guru, but you like you should be giving us the tips.
So what actually, matter of fact, that's even another good thing that you could do as content. Was it Johnny John?
Robbie Rob.
Robbie Rob.
How dare you?
I'm just self-obsessed. I don't know. My name's John. So what Robbie Rob could be doing is he could be saying, okay, cool, this is the content, or like the content strategy or the marketing strategy I would give to Nike, for example, and you basically lay it out and say, okay, Nike can do this, this, and this, and this, and if they did this, this, and this, and this, they could hit this, this, and this, and this, and then other people who are interested in it, I'm like, yeah, they could do that. This is really interesting. And what's interesting about TikTok as well is people will be interested in the things that they're not actually interested in. I said last time that we were speaking, I was watching videos of this guy cleaning a pool for 15 minutes. 15 minutes, Jacob. I don't know about pools, about cleaning them. I don't really care about cleaning them. I just care about swimming in them. But I was watching that content, and people will take in his content if he's passionate about what he does, number one, and knows what he's talking about, number two, and is authentic with it, number three. That's probably something that we're going to get into.
You know what? Listen, notepads out, please.
Yes.
Note things like money makers. We're gonna hit you. Let's just unload.
Yeah.
Let's just unload, because now Jonathan inspired me. He's got me started. So cool. So now you're at the Gen Z platforms. One thing I love what you said, is so cool. I got saying, and this is very applicable to social media. Steve Jobs said this: good artists copy, smart artists steal. You go on TikTok, you look at what's already working. Why reinvent the wheel? What's already working, and copy it. If that's already working, why on earth would you try and do something that isn't working? Like, save yourself time. So see what's working. Obviously, it's not gonna be exactly the same because it's you, not them. So that's the first step. See what's working.
And I wanted to just say something off that first step as well. Still have the authenticity. Still have your own spin to it.
Of course,
because you can copy someone, but then it's not going to be the same as what they're doing, as you were saying. But then have that authentic spin, because that's what's going to give you the views and what's going to make people stick with you, because they like the thing that you have done with it. Even like jumping on trends, but we can jump into that.
No, but I can imagine no one here is thinking, let me just copy and paste.
So
exactly. I feel like so see what's working and see how you can implement it into your strategy. Number one. Number two is one thing Jonathan mentioned is document, don't create. That's my ethos. And when he mentioned one thing about social media, and this is how you grow on any platform, is you've got to provide value. That's how you go. You provide value. So if you want to be seen as a marketing guru, you got to come across the people that you know what you're talking about. So when you're putting out content, say you work with Nike now, you got to show your audience. People are scared about information, but if you don't put out information, how can anyone trust you? That's how you build trust. That's how you build. That's how you show people that you got knowledge. So you say, cool, you put your information out there, and you say how what I did with Nike. Now you're establishing yourself here as an expert within social media. So now when people think, you know what, I need to grow my strategy, let me go to him. Because people get scared. People think that people pay for the information. No, they pay for the implementation. They pay for the context. So me saying how I work with Barclays and how I produce some results, that's not me giving you all my cheat codes. That's what I did for Barclays. But people pay for how I can implement that into your strategy kind of thing. So you got to give value. If we got to give people a reason to follow you. So it's really important that when you are going to these platforms, think what is people benefit from listening to this video. And the more information you can provide, the more value you can give, the more followers you increase, the more leads you'll get. Because they will see you and think, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. I want to work with him. If you've got two companies, one guy is on social media, he is expert. He's worked with this college, that college, giving out full value. You've got another company, and all they do is talk, sell to you. Who you going to?
I'm going to go to the guy who gives me value
for about 6 months.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's not rocket science. Don't overcomplicate things.
And on the topic of it's not rocket science as well, it's not a short-term game either. It's a long-term game. Notice how Austin said they've been giving value to you for 6 months.
Yeah.
So people quit after 6 days. People quit after 6 hours because they don't see the results straight away. And that's why social ROI is so important. And when you build up that ROI over time, or you build up that social credibility over time, you actually see that in the long run.
Can you elaborate on the social credibility aspect and why you believe that's important for a Gen Z audience, but not just a Gen Z audience, for everyone as well? What is social credibility, and why is it important for business owners to understand and potentially begin to implement?
So the reason why social credibility or social ROI, return on investment, is so important is because you'll be front of mind. You'll be front of mind for them when they need to make a purchasing decision. So let's say, for example, Robbie Rob, for example, if anyone needs marketing advice, guess who they're going to go to? They're going to go to Robbie Rob. If I need my pool cleaned, I'm going to go to that pool guy that I saw that I've been seeing all the time on TikTok, even though I'm not interested in
But
pools.
who won't they go to? The guy hasn't posted in 2021.
Or they're not going to go to the guy who hasn't posted because they don't know him. He's back of mind. He's not even back of mind. He's not in the mind.
Yeah.
He's elsewhere, right? He's just doing whatever he's doing in his little corner.
Yeah.
He's not on TikTok.
Yeah.
And another person they're not going to be drawing to is someone who's saying, right, buy this. No, they're going to be drawing to the person who has the most value and who's showing the most value. Yeah. That's why I'm very big on abundant value. So give as much value as you can, because number one, it will force you to grow, and number two, it will mean that you have more in the locker. Clearly, if you're giving out all this value, okay, imagine what he's going to do if he's paid. Yeah. Imagine what he's going to do, or what value that she or he can provide if I actually start working with them. So I mean, that's
another gem on top of that, which is also really powerful. You guys are getting the full
honestly,
gems.
I hope you have the notepads out.
When you look at that algorithm, it's based upon watch time. So at the end of the day, what people don't understand, I was talking to one girl a couple of months ago, and lovely girl, but her business idea needs some work. She wanted to basically create a platform that allowed traders to be seen, kind of thing. She said that she didn't like how she goes on TikTok, and then she's seen this person, that person, and people that deserve to be seen on TikTok don't get seen. I said, that's interesting. So how should they deserve it? She was like, well, you know, I thought they're doing great things. Like, oh, what do you think they're doing great things? Or like who are you to say that they deserve to be seen or not?
That's good.
What TikTok does, TikTok, I said to her, TikTok has no agenda. All TikTok wants is for you to stay on that app. That's all it cares about. No agenda. They will see 2 videos. This video has been watched to its length. This video got skipped past for 2 seconds. What video do you think TikTok is going to push more? The one that people watch to the end, or the one that people watch for 2 seconds? The one that people watch to the end. So I said, TikTok, like, I love your idea, and people do need more homage, but it's like, TikTok he got no agenda against Robbie Rob. Like, he doesn't know who he is. All he cares about is watch time. So when you put up value now, what video will be seen more? How you broke down Nike's marketing strategy to a T and gave value. Not even really watch it to the end, they watch it over and over again. They might even save it, don't even share it. TikTok sees that and thinks, oh wow, like, this is a great video, let me push to more people. Or how everybody go pay for my course. No one's gonna watch that. So there's also from the avenues, like, it's many avenues that you plug into. One avenue is the relationship with the customer, that they will establish you as a authority figure, front of mind. That's one avenue. But to even be seen on these platforms, you need to give value, because people need to watch it. And if it's not sign of value, no one's gonna watch it. So that's important.
So that was Robbie Rob. Now let's go to Suzy Sue.
Suzy Sue.
All right. So Suzy Sue sells scrunchies,
Yeah.
right?
What's a scrunchie?
It's like, well, I don't use them, but it's the ones like
Tie your hair.
It's like a hairband, but then like it's got like a material around it.
Oh, like kind of like the ones that wrap on your hair.
No, it's
No,
like
not
smaller.
those.
And like if he has in a ponytail, yeah, and then the girl will like put the scrunchie around like with a ponytail.
Okay,
Yeah.
obviously you can tell. I
So Suzy Sue, the scrunchy lady,
Mm-hmm.
right? What we just talked about social ROI. Suzy Sue has a product that she actually wants to sell. She's not Robbie Rob, who provides a marketing service, right? How can somebody who is bringing a product, a tangible product, what could someone like that do?
Can I go?
Go.
I'm ready to go. I'm like, let's go. So with this one, yeah, what they could do is essentially, or what Suzy Sue can do with Scrunchies by Suzy. Let's give her a brand name, right?
Scrunchies by Suzy.
Come on, the whole
You're
package
welcome.
today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Scrunchies by Suzy. What can we do for Scrunchies by Suzy? So what we would do is we would say, okay, cool. Scrunchies by Suzy, we want to make you big, right? We want to make sure that this thing gets out there and people get all their questions answered. People know about Scrunchies by Suzy. So say, okay, cool. Let's make an initial video. See how that goes. So initial video will go out there talking about the different aspects of the scrunchies. Maybe, for example, there's different colors. Maybe they're really elastic, right? Or maybe this is like one hairstyle you can do with the scrunchies, right? And then one thing that we could do is look at the comments from that. People will be asking questions. Oh, so does this come in a smaller size or is it one size? You make a video off the back of that. Say, oh, this is one size fits all. Cool, great. Off the back of that, it's like, okay, do these break after 5 uses? Then they say, no, look, this person has used it X amount of times and it's still elastic. And then what's the difference between Scrunchies by Suzy and versus Scrunchies by Margaret? Scrunchie by Margaret. Maybe Margaret, her friend, was jealous of Suzy and she started a business. So someone said, okay, what's the difference between the two?
Yeah.
She gets, okay, here's a Margaret's one, here's a Suzy's one. And then maybe like they do a test and they see that Suzy's is more stronger. Yeah. So you can basically judge, or you can go off of what your audience is asking, and that is very, very easy to do. When it comes to TikTok, you can reply to videos with, like, you can reply to comments with videos. You can do that on I think you can do that on, was it TikTok, Instagram now too? I'm not sure if you could do it on Instagram.
I think you can, but
you might be able to, or you can just screenshot it and put it on Instagram, as in you're responding to this comment. That's another thing that I would do, and I would actually use what I like to call my unlimited content matrix. That's what I'm calling it. That's what I'm calling it as. And essentially, you break your business down into 4 pillars, right? You're welcome. Before I even start, you break your business down into 4 pillars. You say, okay, let's say, for example, Scrunchies by Suzy. She has really likes, I don't know, fashion, right? She really likes hair, and there's another 2. So you break down hair and fashion, and you get their keywords. So you say, okay, fashion. We have models. We have material. We have this, that, and the other. And then for each of those keywords, you'd break that down into the who, what, when, where, how, and why. So you say, okay, cool. Let's say, for example, fashion materials, right? Okay, what materials do I need? What should I wear my scrunchies with? What hairstyle should I have? How? Okay, how do I use the scrunchie? How do I use the scrunchie in a different way? How do I don't know, match the scrunchie to my outfit? And then the why. Why do I need a scrunchie? Why is a scrunchie useful for this situation? And you can break down each keyword in your 4 pillars, and you can just make unlimited amount of content. And then people respond to that, and then you respond to those messages, and you can make as much content as you want, and people will be interested because you're providing value, and you're just putting your product, or making your product front of mind for all of these people, and they're just interested in the journey too. And
see, this is what I love John, why I brought him on here, because I feel like it's such a contrast of mind. I feel like John's very left brain, and he gave you a lot of content regarding like how he can make content like, you know, like, tangible, whereas I'm very right brain, which is why I think I love bringing John on here, because my mind went straight to, even before that content, like understanding why people buy things. Brands, people that buy what you do, people buy emotionally. A lot of people buy emotionally. So when people buy Nike, people don't buy Nike because it's the best thing in the market. They buy Nike because they've got an emotional connection with Nike. So people buy brands, they buy emotion, they buy emotionally. That's the reason why you might see 2 t-shirts, they're both t-shirts. One, like, there's no difference in quality, but one has got a certain brand attached to it, one has got any. They will pay 10 extra price because this one's got a certain brand to it.
I won't.
Of course, of course.
I won't.
Even
not anymore.
And I'll take it further. If you go to Sainsbury's, there's so much ketchup. Who does everyone get?
Heinz.
Heinz.
It's
Heinz. It's the same ketchup.
For certain things.
For certain things.
It's the same ketchup.
Yeah.
But we go to Heinz. Why do you go to Heinz?
Nah.
Because of brand.
If we're talking about ketchup now, there's a difference in flavor.
What's the sauce?
Oh, we can get the technicalities of it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I know what I mean.
It's the same thing.
Even though that ketchup's cheaper, they both for ketchup.
Yeah.
People go for the Heinz because they got the most connection with it.
Yeah.
Same with brands. So when I look at something like scrunchies, when I look at something that is very, very common in the marketplace, my brain doesn't go to make content because there's a million people doing scrunchies already, and a lot of the people that are doing it, a lot of people have already established relationships with other companies, so you're going to very kind of market be difficult. So my mind goes to brand. How can I make people more emotionally attached with me than them? So that even though they might be able to do the cheapest scrunchies, but people are buying it because it's me. Look at KSI and Logan Paul. Like for those that don't know, he's a YouTuber and
boxer YouTuber.
Yeah. They got a drink called Prime. Google it. It's destroying the economy. Absolutely, as in like people are camping outside to buy it. Like you can't be seen anywhere.
An energy drink. They're camping.
Are they the first one to do energy drink?
No,
Will they be the last one to do energy drink?
Absolutely not.
But are they killing the energy drink industry?
Absolutely.
Because they built brand. Because people want to buy it because not because it's Prime, it's energy drinks. Because it's KSI and Logan Paul behind it. So my man will go, how can I build brand? How can I make sure that when I'm making this content, as you mentioned, I make sure I'm creating a connection with my audience. I can come with value. When I say value, it ain't got to be 5 tips. It could be even entertainment. You could be making people laugh. Yeah. When it comes to me buying, I might run out of scrunchie now. Not me, but maybe I got my mum. She might need a scrunchie, and she might be going with TikTok and seeing, I actually need a scrunchie. I've been seeing this TikToker, and he just so funny. Or she's just so funny. You know, I'm gonna get that one. It's an emotional brand you have your audience. I do Gen Z Club. We're not the first to do network events. We're not gonna be the last people. But yet we pack out every single event because of brand.
Yeah. And then I was going to say off the back of that as well, you can still build that into the content strategy. You have to be, as I say, be your authentic self. If Susie is her authentic self in this content strategy and she just adds in little bits of her, maybe she likes to dance. So she puts in just a random dance break in the middle, that kind of stuff. That's what does well. There's different things that people aren't used to seeing, right? And if she establishes her brand that way and documents the process, which we'll probably talk about later, people will want to grow with the brand and people will actually support. I remember when I was doing, I told you guys about the sneaker storage business that I did a while ago. I remember we got a few sales because we would document the process. We were saying, okay, this is when we went to drop off boxes here, when we were still doing in-person deliveries. Okay, this is what it looked like when we upgraded to this or that or the other. And then someone was like from, I think like Middlesex or somewhere. We're from London, right? So it's from like Middlesex or maybe even up north or something like that. They were like, I'm just buying just to support. Like, I like what you guys are doing kind of thing. And they just bought a little thing. They just bought, I think it was a shoe tree. Just a shoe tree to put into your shoes. For like maybe like a $5 or something like that. And then we got more and more of those purchases as well of people who were seeing the journey and they were loving it and they wanted to support because they liked us and they liked what we were building. And if they like scrunchies, even better. And the answer's out there. So you look at Apple. Apple's by far not the best phone in the market. But who does ever go to buy? When you get a new phone, who are you going to?
BlackBerry.
You're gonna ask from there. Don't let them fool you. I'm joking. But yeah, so like the answers are there. So I would say for products that are a bit more common, see how you. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying see how you can establish brand with it. And also with that now, you can charge higher prices. Branding is so important. The reason why Gen Z Club can charge X amount of prices is because you've built a brand. And I feel like a brand, which is what I love, and this is one thing I want to push more deeply. Because I see a lot of people start businesses now, but aren't that valuable. And the second that you get a competitor now that undercuts you, you're out the game. Whereas with a brand now, you can undercut Apple all you want. Apple's not going anywhere. They built a brand, so I feel like when you build brand, that's a long-term solution. And then now you've got so much to work with. You can increase pricing, you can do all these things.
All right. Now, you're speaking about brand there. How can somebody starting up in business build a brand? What is a brand and how do I build a brand?
Well, your brand is your most connection with a customer. We've gone left. The branding marketing goes hand in hand. Obviously, you can have a great brand, and I always say this example. Sorry, you have a great brand, but if no one knows about it, what does it matter? So you need to be able to find a way where cool, I can have a great brand. So branding is, I'll get into that in a minute. Branding is one element, marketing is how you're seen. So no point having the best brand in the world. Apple could be the best brand in the world, but if no one knows about it, it doesn't matter. So it goes hand in hand. So a brand is your most connection to your customer. So what do people think when they see that? What do people think when they see you? What emotions kind of spurs up in a brand? So one way to start is, I think a big thing is let it have a story, let it have a message behind it. There's a great book on this called Start of Why, which I recommend you read. And that is around like, why does your product exist? Like Apple was built to, because it's funny now, but it was built around Think Different. So Think Different campaigns. It was around making people think different because Steve Jobs, I read this book, at the time Apple's massive now, but it wasn't massive before. So he understood to buy an Apple product here, you need to think different. So he made the whole campaign about think different. So people was like, you know what? Yeah, I want to think different. I resonate with that. I want to be against the status quo. So they'll buy Apple. So it's about having a story that not every audience, but an audience can resonate with.
Because I like that. Because if you sell to everyone and you sell them to no one,
of
realistically, and for me, brand is like what you represent. Like, what do you represent? It's just the same as a personal brand. Like, what do you represent personally? As a person, what do you represent? Okay, these are my values. That is my personal brand. My values are So as a brand, you would need to have values as well. So to build a brand, you need to build your values. Okay, identify your values. Because everyone has values. You just have to see them and understand them. Yeah. And then when you have your brand, you can have marketing, add them hand in hand, and then you can go forwards with them.
But branding is a whole different workshop, though.
It's another thing.
Yeah. No, because
I like branding.
You were the reason why I bring that up is because obviously we spoke about the two personas there, what they need to be doing on these particular platforms, be it content, be it value, be it being front of mind. But you spoke in depth about brand, and brand, like we said, goes hand in hand with those things. But if somebody's starting off in business or someone's in the business phase, I wanted to kind of emphasize the importance of brand in the midst of that as well. So no, well covered. So I'm gonna get back to my actual questions now again.
Oh, sorry. Can I just say one more thing about brand?
Go for it, man.
Just understanding your journey. So it's understanding your journey, as Austin said as well, understanding your journey, like why is the reason that you started this business? What is the reason that you're doing this venture? Because that is what people will connect with. Like even with me, like what I say to my clients is I was running a business and running a podcast, and it was just too much to handle. I couldn't juggle both at the same time, so I had to find a way to automate the podcast, and that's why I created this business to help people who are also in a similar position to where I was. And they're like, oh, I'm in that, yeah, let's do this. And there's testimonials backing that up too. And it's the same thing with business.
But it's as well, like brand is like, because at the end of the day, this is applicable to small businesses. So brand saves you money. A lot of businesses are out of budget. So you could just do no brand and have marketing. So if you are selling scrunchies, if you are seen more than every other scrunchie in the market, you might do well because you got that much money to invest in marketing. So you're seen more than every other thing. But if you are a small business, you don't have that money. So unless you got a good brand, a brand is going to separate you from get a scrunchie at Sainsbury's, for example. So if you haven't got budget now yet, a brand is what separates you. Gen Z Club, we sold out our 450 person event. We didn't put a penny into marketing. So branding, because we built brand, it saved us money. So I feel like if, as an SME, you don't really have the choice of, okay, cool, I can put £1 million towards my marketing budget. So you kind of have the established brand anyway. So it saves you money.
No, that's exactly branding. Having that alignment, that connection can save you money in a long time. Because when you drop a product, because you have that connection, that relationship with an audience already, they will easily recommend you. You're always out front of mind, and if they're thinking about a particular thing, they're going to come to you. As you said, if you need a scrunchie and Suzy Sue's there, because your mum knows that, oh, I've seen Suzy Sue on TikTok, she does this, I'm going to go to her.
I had a real life example as well, but I want Jacob to continue.
No, you want to share?
The one, very quick, do you know Cortez?
Yeah,
Cortez, you're going to mention him. Yeah. So Cortez is a fashion brand, right? It's like a streetwear brand for Gen Zs, I'd say. You say the audience is mostly Gen Z, right? 100%. Definitely. And what they did one time, it's called the Bolo Exchange, the Great Bolo Exchange, right? And a bolo, isn't it essentially like a jacket, like a big jacket?
Yeah, this is incredible actually, good example.
They got their jackets, which are worth how much, like 200-ish, but they're probably going to produce for like 25, 50, whatever. Yeah. And then they managed to get a whole van of them, and they managed to get like hundreds of kids just lining up, giving them their North Face, like
so more expensive jackets. They were trading more expensive jackets
for the jackets that were worth like £200 because of the brand, because they want a brand that says Cortez on the back. That's it. It has a brand on the back, Jacob. Because they have a brand, they were able to exchange these jackets that were worth over £1,000, jackets that were worth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds for this jacket, which was worth maybe under 200 or something like that retail, because of a brand.
So the only way that you can get a jacket was exchanging the jacket you already have. So I've exchanged this, for example, for them. So it shows you the power of their brand, where I exchanged a guest jacket for them. So it shows that branding.
And to top it all off, they gave all of those jackets that were worth more to charity. They put them all in charity shops as well. So that even builds the brand even more, which says it's for the people, because they're giving the jackets to the people.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
That's a good example.
And now they're working with Nike.
Now who are also built on brand.
They're working with Nike now in collaboration with Nike, and they did like a big projection on the Nike store the other day. But sorry, continue, Jacob.
What are some of the effective marketing strategies for small businesses to target Gen Z?
So you're talking a couple already. So it's about finding out where they're at. I can give you that, in actual context. So TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and Facebook Reels can make a little comeback. But Gen Z might not be on there as much, but Facebook's still the biggest platform on the planet. So Reels make a bit of comeback. So Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts are the 3 that I would recommend. LinkedIn as well. For depending on your business. The next one is influencers. So influencer is the massive play. I don't mean the most expensive ones. I mean that an influencer is kind of like selling your product. It's kind of like people, if they can't resonate with you, they can resonate with an influencer. So when people see that, okay, he's won it, I can do that as well. So like people like to buy what they relate to. So if you want to get a jacket, think about it this way. I love the example because I'm just give it in the practical sense. If I want to buy a jacket and I've only seen middle-aged white men wear it, that's all I've seen wear it. Do you think I'm going to buy it? Not really. But if I see a jacket now, I see people look at me wearing it, of course I'm going to buy it. So I feel like when you want to, first of all, get into the platforms, but then you want to get their attention, you gotta make people feel like that is for me. So you like influence is a great play, which is why they don't have to be famous no more. They ain't got to be followers. They got to be people that your audience can resonate with, and like, oh, like he signed up for that program, and I got the similarities there. I should do it. Like if he can do it, why can't I do it? A lot of marketing is like, if he can do it, why can't I do it? So I say targeting Gen Z is finding people that Gen Z can look at and think, if he can do it, why can't I do it? If he can buy a jacket, I should buy it too, because he looks like me. So
yeah, and I would say also Twitter is also another space that Gen Zs are on. But there's particular nuances with each platform which you have to be aware of, which is why you need to have understanding of the niche before you even go into it. Or to be honest, you can actually gain it as you actually gain knowledge and all that kind of stuff, but that does take time. So that's another thing to bear in mind.
But the reason I say that though, because there's something called organic reach. So organic reach is the reach you get without paying a single penny. So that's organic, and paid advertising is obviously paid advertising. So the reason I said TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts is because you got the most organic reach. So that means that you can have 0 followers on TikTok, post TikTok and get 1 million views. YouTube Shorts similar, Instagram Reels similar, Facebook Reels similar. So I mentioned those because Twitter is great, of course, but they are reaching there. Like if you tweet and you got 0 followers, no one's really gonna see it. Whereas if you go Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok, it's got insane organic reach, which is why it's a great marketing play. And the longer you take, the worse it gets. So TikTok a couple of years ago was amazing for organic reach. Now, not so much. So you got to be quick.
Still good, still very good,
yeah,
but it will drop off over time. So you were going to say something, Jake?
Yeah. No, I was going to say, you mentioned the nuances. Yeah. So, people get onto these platforms, right? What are some of the things that they need to be aware of? So when they get onto, for example, Twitter, right? Like I personally wouldn't have said that Gen Zs are on Twitter, but you're a Gen Z. You said they are, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What do I need to be doing as a small business owner to be being effective on Twitter?
Well, I would say first and foremost, just before you're going to say something, I feel like this is probably going to add into what you're saying. You have to know your audience. You have to understand who your audience is in the first place, so you're actually able to understand, okay, what do I need to do to target them? So when you know who your audience is and know what they're interested in, then you can start to make these decisions. So let's say, for example, your audience is interested in football. So you start to go on Twitter and you start looking at football Twitter, because there's these different pockets of Twitter. So there's like football Twitter, there's business Twitter. Even for people like literally Gen Zs, like there are people there discussing what they're doing in terms of business, and they're working together through Twitter. They've never met each other, but through Twitter they're starting 7-figure, 8-figure businesses through Twitter. But because they've all come to one place, one community for them to go and communicate. And also football Twitter as well, people come onto Twitter to communicate there as well. So you know that you have to be taking in that kind of content, searching those type of hashtags, and you'll come across it and you'll stay in that community and you understand what that community likes, because Twitter will show you what's trending. So if you actually look for that stuff, Twitter, that what you seek, you will find. Twitter will actually show you that stuff, and it will show you what's trending, and you'll be able to understand, okay, this is the type of content I need to create to reach this type of audience.
No, like end of the day, like big thing you gotta say is pay respect to the platform. Like pay respect. Like if you're, don't just put the same video you put on Instagram to Twitter or whatever. Like you gotta pay respect to the platform. So a big element of that is just literally observing, be an observer, be a listener. And I think that's a big thing. I know you got a question on how to understand Gen Z. So you got that question coming up? Yeah. Because I'll touch on that my next part a bit later. But you got to respect the platform. And I feel like a big thing that I've seen, and this is a little thing that makes a big difference here, and I've seen with a lot of, I'm in the old generation, is that whenever I ask them to take a picture, the first thing they do is landscape. And I've always said like, no, portrait. The reason being is because, if you look at Instagram, it's common sense. When you go for the feed, a picture like that will take up that much of the screen. A picture like that will take up more of the screen. Same with TikTok. So when you're scrolling through, you take up more of the screen by making a portrait. So these are little things, examples of like ways where you got to show respect to the platform. You know what I'm saying? So So yeah, man. So to circle off, you got to pay respect to the platform. And in terms of things to look at, I could be here all day with things to think about, the nuances. But what you got to do is spend time on the platform. Spend time on the platform and observe it. What is working on TikTok? Because at the end of the day, things change.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say.
They change on a regular basis as well, and then we can even get into trends as well, because trends is a big part of everything too. And trends are very nuanced themselves. So there might be a trend in a different community, like we said last time, like the ballet community. There might be a ballet trend, but if you're an engineer, then that's not really going to resonate with your audience, right?
How do people stay in line? What do people need to do to be keeping an ear to the ground? Are there places to go? Who do we speak to know what's going to pop tomorrow, or what's about to come around the corner, or for me to be doing?
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna make it really simple. You either have time or you have money. Those are two. You have time or you have money. If you don't have money, you've got time, which means that you can go through it yourself, look at trends, just do some scrolling. You can ask people who you're trying to target, and literally just scroll and look. And
go to hashtags as well.
Hashtags. Yeah. So you can. YouTube is free. Google's free. ChatGPT is also free. So you just got to research it. Like, at the end of the day, like, there's no special. No one's got magic wands. Every single person that knows anything about it, what they do is, even the people that you might hire, what they're doing is they study the platforms. So Gary Vee, one of my favorite influencers, he's got a whole team of people that study the platforms, the latest trends. You watch his videos, you ask them, how do you know the latest trends? They literally study it. They go to where they're at. They don't make assumptions. They go and find out. So if even if you've got money, you've got time. So you've got time to look at the trends. You've got time to go through TikTok, see what's working, see what isn't working. You've got time to look at your competitors, see what they're doing, and copy them. As I mentioned before, good artists copy, smart artists still. That's my one. Now you've got money. What you can do, which is better, and now you can pay people, you can hire people to actually do that for you. So now you can focus on, one thing I learned at a very young age in business is that do what you do best and delegate the rest. So I said this example before, if I'm being honest here, if I want to reach, I don't know, the boomers, I wouldn't be on a boomer platform trying to figure them out. I would hire somebody or work with somebody to let me know, because one, they will always know more than me anyway, because that's their expertise. Two, it gives you more time to do other things, and three, like, it's just a more smart decision. So I'd say, if you've got time, use the platforms. Free platforms are available to you. Look at the trend, look at your competitors. That's a great place to start. I'm still copy ideas. If you've got money, find people who've got proven record in that niche that you're looking at, and just work with them. Because at the end of the day, that's what they do. So I think that's a really, really important play.
There's not really much to add to that, to be honest. He's covered it all.
Well.
Yeah.
But also, I want to say as well, like, even the money aspect, like, don't think you got to pay loads of money. It could be your little sister. Yeah. Like I was saying before, you'll be surprised, how much your little brother that makes dance videos on TikTok knows about TikTok. Because bear in mind, if your little brother has got like a few things on TikTok doing, I don't know, money videos, or he's doing, I don't know, couch videos,
like Minecraft videos, and stuff,
he will, to get to that 15K, he knows a lot that you didn't know. Yeah. So like, look within your circle. I don't think you got good. Like, even I've got a bit of an agenda against agencies right now. If I'm being honest, I'm sorry, but I feel like a lot of agencies I look at, I'm thinking, you're charging X amount for this, but you haven't done it yourself. So like, it doesn't make sense. Like, honestly, at this point, I'd rather go, and which what I do, I'd rather go to a young creator who I've worked with, Kian, for example. He's somebody that I had for my Gen Z club. I saw him making content already on TikTok, and I was doing great. I said, come on board for Gen Z, we could use you to create content for us. He's got us 300,000 views. I think his second video got us 300,000 views. Because that's what he does. He is a creator. And you're seeing a lot more now, a lot of creators going into agencies, which I think is better, because they've actually lived the experience of it. As opposed to agency who might have got, and with all due respect for degrees, might have got a degree in it, but living and breathing a field and doing it on a regular basis like creators do, it's different. So that's a massive cheat code. Go to people, go to your little brother who's got a TikTok account on Pokemon. He will know the trends. He will know how to maneuver TikTok. He can give you so much value. So find creators that are already doing it and see how you can put them into your marketing strategy.
I like that. I think I mentioned this last time that if somebody's not got X amount of money, they've not got a big budget, but they've got people around them 100%. Who have got the expertise, or could be the little brother, ask them the question, 100%. What are you doing? Help me. Do you know what I mean? And see what they can do from there.
And that'll be even better than a lot of agencies who haven't actually done it themselves. Like, if you come and do it for yourself, that's why I had a bit of agenda with that agency you mentioned before. Like, how can you be a digital market agency if you haven't done it for yourself? If you're trying to market your own service, how can you market my service? Like I'm being like, if you can't market your own service, how on earth are you gonna market my service? And I think that's one thing I see now. Whereas, in my opinion, we don't agree with it, but I'd rather go for a creator who does it, lives and breathes it, and go to an agency who can say they can market my service, but you can't market your own service.
It's real. It's very, very real. Very, very real. How important is social media in reaching Gen Z, and what specific things? I know you just covered like TikTok, Instagram, and Shorts as well. But when it now comes to understanding the timings of when to post things, the sort of things to be posting, how do business owners figure that out?
Well,
how important? To answer the first question, how important are fishing nets in catching fish?
It's vital.
No. How important are fish nets in catching fish?
It's necessary.
Like, it's not social media. It's like it's just a medium. Yeah. Like, and you want to have the best medium. I'll have more luck catching a fish using a fishing net than a golf club.
100%.
It's the same thing as social media. I will have more luck posting on TikTok than I would putting a magazine in my local newsagent.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's the exact same thing. I would rather catch a fish with a fish net than a golf club. Same way, I would rather catch a Gen Z with TikTok than a magazine print.
Yeah.
That's just common sense.
100%.
So that's answer your first question.
And what was the second question again? Cause I had something for that.
So when it comes to the timings of when to post stuff, when it comes to the sort of content and sort of material to be putting out there, what?
Well, not different views yet, but I'll be real. Like, end of the day, the quality of content is what matters more than any of that.
What would you say?
The quality of content matters more than any of that. Quality of the content.
I would disagree. I would say at the start, just start posting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But quality content.
Quality. No, I say just start posting. Don't focus on quality
I get that,
at the start.
But I think he's saying, like, I'm talking specifically about timing.
Okay.
Of course, like
why?
timing of posts.
Why do you say that, and why do you say
No,
that?
I agree with that as well, because at the end of the day, you like, I feel like we're letting confusion. He's saying that timing, the time you post is important.
Right.
What else is he saying?
So like the times, like is it better for me to be posting in the mornings?
Yeah.
How do I know if it's working? And also, what sort of content should I be posting out?
I'm saying that's even, like, I feel like I get what you're saying. I think that's even important, because first we've got to start, like I mentioned, you've got to start. I feel like a lot of people are worried about the wrong things. And let me put it into perspective again. The algorithm is set up to make people stay in the app. Whether you post at 9 p.m, 6 a.m, 5 a.m, 5 p.m, if it's a quality piece of content, it will be seen.
I disagree again.
TikTok. No.
No.
Let me finish.
Go.
TikTok, is like, this is a great piece of content and people watching it. However, because it posts at 5 a.m, I'm not gonna push it out there. No. TikTok will see. I've shown it to 15 people. Those 15 people have watched to the end.
Yeah.
Let me show it to another 100 people. That's all it cares about. It's not gonna. TikTok isn't gonna like ruin this app because like people post at 5 a.m. It won't do it to yourself. Yeah. All it cares about, that's all it cares about. Same way, let's be real, basically about making money. TikTok cares about making money as well.
Yeah.
What's gonna keep in that app the longest?
Attention.
If this is a great piece of content, people watching it, I'm not gonna suppress it because it posts at 5 a.m. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. But I'd argue that I have seen when you post it, like, let's say, for example, there's a piece of content that is showing some promise, right? Which will get more views than your average content. So Austin's right in that respect. But if you post it multiple times, sometimes on the third time that you repost it, it will go crazy. It will go absolutely crazy. But there was something I was going to say. Oh, yeah. So just posting, the step one is just posting. So literally just start putting stuff out there because it will show in the data. Post at different times of the day. Post whenever. Austin earlier was talking about LinkedIn. I missed my morning slot. But then we were just saying, just post anyway for consistency. And I was like, yeah, consistency. Might as well post anyway today to put the stuff out there. And then we went into the topic of like, oh yeah, the timelines aren't chronological anymore. They're impact related, or they're like impression related, right? Or engagement related. So it's like, okay, who do you engage with more? That is who the timeline is going to show you. So it doesn't really matter what time you post at the start as well. So at the start, you just post. You post. Let's say, for example, every day, right? You post every day for like 90 days. And then you see across those 90 days, okay, Instagram will even tell you, TikTok will even tell you what time is my audience the most active. It will tell you this stuff. You don't have to ask it. It will tell you. It will say, okay, your audience is most active at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday evening. That is when they're the most active. Over that 90-day period, that's when they're the most active. Okay, cool. I probably should start posting on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Right? So that's in terms of timing. And then let's say, for example, you get like hundreds of comments on the videos that Robbie Rob makes about Nike. Nike, right? Yep. So he always really get really good engagement over these 90 days about the Nike videos that he makes. maybe Robbie Rob should make some more videos about Nike. Maybe you should think about doing a spin on it, right? Because this is what people like.
That's content on timing though.
So it's content, and then you're gaining the content, you're gaining the data to be able to make the decisions from, and then you can make the decision about time, and you can make the decision about content from all the data that you collected over that last 90 days.
I want to say two things. My point I'm making here, is that it might have a tiny impact, but it's not going to make a monumental impact. Like, you're focusing on the wrong things. Like, what my point is, you posting a video, a crappy video at a certain time is not going to save it from it being a crappy video. Like, the quality is what's going to determine how well it does. So don't think, because I post at 5 a.m, that's why I don't do bad. That's why the video didn't perform. No. It didn't perform because it wasn't a great video. So my point is, focus on making that quality video. Then there might be small nuances where you put at certain times, but if the video is good enough, it will be seen.
How do you define a quality video?
But even off that, before I get into that now, I never forget this. One of my most liked pictures I posted was at 6 a.m. in the morning. Like, that's what I mean. The algorithm is set up where, and as you look at your phone, when you go on your phone now, look at the timings that the person posted it. It'll be like from 2 days ago. 6 hours ago, because Instagram only cares about showing you what you want to see. So if you post it at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 4 a.m, doesn't matter, because Instagram will still show it that person. He knows that you want to see it. That's how it works. So I remember I had a picture, a graduation picture. I took a cold picture.
It was a good picture.
Like of like graduation. Like, I had a red suit. My car's red, so I literally sat in my car.
Maroon. Yeah.
And I had a burgundy suit, so it matched my car. My suit matched my car. My graduation. I told my brother, I said, I'm gonna post it now. He goes, don't post it now. Like, it's 6 a.m. I'm like, but I want to do my post later because I graduate later, so I want to do 2 posts a day. I'm like, I'm not posting now. Video blew up. Reason being because people that turn their phone on at 12 p.m. to see it or 2 p.m, the picture was still there. It's the first thing they saw. Because Instagram saw that the initial batch of people that engaged with it, they liked it. Let me show it to more people. Instagram isn't going to pigeonhole themselves because I got posted at 6 a.m. All it cares about the fact that this is a good piece of content. People engage with it. Let me show it to more people. It don't matter anywhere near what you think it does.
That's something not to brush over as well. So what these platforms do, what their algorithms do, is they actually test your content with X amount of people. So they'll test your content with 10 people. If most of the people out of 10 people complete most of the video or a certain amount of the video, then they'll share it to 100 people. If 100 people like that video, then they'll share it to 1,000 people, then 10,000, then 100,000, then million, then 10 million. So that's how it essentially works. It's just testing. So just like the platform test, you need to test too in terms of your content.
So social media is interest graph, which means that it's based upon your interests, which is why you can see content from 3 days ago on your feed. I even see picture from 17th of December on my feed, honestly.
Which feed? What, LinkedIn?
Instagram. You see Instagram shows like older posts now.
Wow.
I'm seeing posts from like December 17th. That's all that platforms care about. Is your content interesting? Will it keep people in my app for longer? That's it. So it's not going to say, okay, cool, you put at 6 a.m, I'm not going to showcase your content. No. It's not gonna happen.
So just make sure that the content that you're producing is quality either in appearance or quality either in value.
So I'll go into it. So quality is subjective, I'll be honest. So but when it comes to quality, they decide, not you. I think a big issue that people make here is the fact that they say, oh my god, I put 5 hours to this video, why didn't it perform? In your opinion, it was quality, but the people that TikTok showed, it wasn't. I'm saying there's no agendas. The Instagram, I'm sorry, Suzy Sue. Instagram doesn't hate you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Suzy Sue. You're not shadow banned. Your content just didn't stick with the audience. So now you got to do. And I've had this where I've spent hours editing the content. My editor will spend hours editing the content. It won't perform. But I'll do one silly video. Remember my card last week of me just talking to the camera, and it'll blow up. I'm thinking,
and it wasn't a silly video.
Well, not silly video, but
you were
like,
actually giving value, but there was no effort, literally.
Of
but you're still giving value in the video.
So I want to understand that value is subjective. So understand that, like, end of the day, I will put in my mind, will this piece of content help somebody listen to it? Will it make them either learn something, laugh, or engage? And then work along that spectrum and use what Jonathan said earlier, those pillars, and just post loads. It's like, that's what we say, throw many things at the wall and see what sticks. Because if you think about it, if I'm trying to, let me not use an example, man example, but say, for example, I want to hit, see there's a duck there, and I want to hit that duck, and I've got one ball. Do you think that also hard I'll hit it?
Yeah, kind of.
If I had 50 balls, do you think it's hard I'll hit it?
Yeah,
if I had 1,000 balls, it's a bit
much
more likely.
Yeah.
So if you look at TikTok, if I post one video, it's likely to go viral. Maybe not so much. If I post 10 videos, it's likely to go viral. A bit more. If I post 1,000 videos, what else is it going viral? So it's about using the pillars now, and rather than trying to hit a one-hit wonder, it's about trying to produce many content and see what sticks. Then when you see what sticks now, use that data to drive your next decisions. So you're saying, cool, I posted 50 videos, 10 of them got 1,000 views, 10 got 100 views, 10 got 50,000 views. Let me stick with the 50,000 views, cut those out, and niche down on that. That's how you use social media.
So basically, it's going back to what you mentioned before about, I know you mentioned, and Jonathan kind of elaborated more on it about it's not just a 1 day thing, but it's a 6 months, for example,
consistency,
and then seeing what works over that period of time, and then doubling down on the things that are working well.
100%.
So no, that's
I want
really
to touch
good.
that as well, because even mindset is important with anything in business. And I want you to understand, Jim, when I see 6 months here, what in life happens overnight? Like I said this on my platform the other day. Like, this is something that I like to look at.
I know something.
Go on.
If you win the lottery.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
but then
no.
that
But
goes
even
as
the
well.
lottery, there is a statistic that
lose
says that
straight away.
when you a lot of people tend to blow a large amount of that because they've not, like, wealth is built. Quick cash comes at that, but wealth, it takes time to acquire.
So the point being, okay, cool. Yes, what's sustainable happens quickly. Nothing. Like, very few of you can show me an example of something that is sustainable that is built quickly. I look at a plant. You look at a tree. Look, the biggest tree in the forest here. How long has it been there for? Thousands of years. It's not coincidence. You look at buildings. How long does it take to build a building? How long does it stay standing for? Look at a baby. If a baby is born too soon, it's at risk of dying. Everything in life, there's not one thing in life here that can happen quickly and is sustainable. So when I tell you the post here for the next 6 months here, that's me using the laws of life and nature and what we see around us to understand that nothing in life that is built quickly is sustainable. So if you want to have a sustainable business, a sustainable brand, sustainable marketing, you need to give it time. That's just how life works. So it's not me saying you guys, just hustle hard, work hard. I'm just telling you how life works.
That's really, really important to know, really, because a lot of people, especially for in the older generation, they may come onto these platforms, they may not see instant hits, or they may not get the views, or they may not get potential leads, but it's you have to play the game. You know, if you don't play the game, you don't complete the levels.
And another thing
you don't get into the next stage.
Another thing I want to add on top of that as well is that you don't know who's watching. So you could be getting 100 views per video, but you do not know who is in those views. I remember I heard a story about this guy. He was doing, like, I think it was relationship coaching, and he was getting about 7 YouTube video views, right? And then one of those views must have been, like, I think one of Oprah Winfrey's employees, and then he ended up working with her because with Oprah Winfrey, because the employee said, "Oh, this guy I've been watching on YouTube, he only gets a couple views. He talks about this very same topic," and Oprah's like, "Yeah, bring him on." You never know who's watching. Even with a lady, name escapes me right now, but Lorraine, she's Lorraine MBE, like, she's doing her thing. And she started the University Gospel Choir. She came on our podcast recently. And that was after have you watched this, Sister Act?
Yes.
So after she watched Sister Act, she was like, okay, I want to bring that over to the UK. She brought it over to the UK. And of course, she got recognized by the Queen and all that kind of stuff. And the reason why, matter of fact, it was the X Factor. So the X Factor must have called her one day after watching her YouTube videos, which were getting like 40 views. Someone from the X Factor must have seen that and was like, yeah, we need to work together. From the X Factor, she's getting 40 views. You don't know who's watching your content. That could be your client, the ideal client that you want. It could be 5 of your ideal clients out of 50 views, but you don't know that until the time comes.
And then again, it comes back to common sense again. So if you post that one video, is it likely that they'll be seen by the X Factor or by Winfrey?
Probably not.
No. If you post 10, is it more likely?
More likely.
Is it, if it's 100, is it more likely?
Much more likely.
If it's 1,000, is it more likely?
Much more likely.
You get what I'm saying? So it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
I want to draw that into people. It's not. It's common sense. If I post once a day, odds of me going viral is very slim. If I post 1,000 times a day, it's much higher. Obviously, like 1,000 a lot. But I'm saying, like, I'm using that as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in regards to posting, for example, on TikTok, on Reels, how many times should a business should be posting every single day?
Start off at 1. Definitely. Or start off at a couple of weeks, matter of fact. So start off at, let's say, for example, 3 posts a week. And then, okay, when you've got consistent with that, then go to the one. Oh, you think differently?
No, I don't. But, like, to answer that question, this one means common sense. If you want to get a 6-pack, do you think it's best to do 20 setups a day or 100 setups a day?
100.
And if you want to get quicker, you think it's best to do 100 setups a day or 1,000 steps a day.
1,000.
Same with social media. If you want to grow your following, if you post once a day, you'll see some work. You post 5 times a day, you'll see some more work.
Yeah.
You post 10 times a day, it's the same concept. It's exactly the same concept.
And we're not saying to post 10 times a day, by the way.
I am.
Oh, you're saying that?
Of course I am.
I'm not saying
Like,
that, because that takes a lot. If you can, then yes.
Obviously, I'm not saying to begin with, but if you can post 10 times a day, if you've got the ability to do more than 1,000 push-ups a day, go for it. So in the day, obviously, as long as it's consistent, sustainable. But I'm saying my point I'm being here is the more off you do something, the more likely it is that you'll go.
100%.
The more I put fishing nets into the ocean, the more likely I'm gonna catch a
it.
fish. It's the same principle. That's what I'm doing to people. It's a consensus that I think that I post too much here. I might annoy people or whatever. First of all, if it's helping people, they want to see more of it. I think I post all day. I'm watching his videos. Like, I want to post more.
Yeah.
I'm saying, so that's number one. Yeah, if it's valuable content, people want to see it. But two, the way Instagram set up now is that it only shows you people that want to see your content, people that are engaged with it. It's an algorithm, it's interest graph. So you're not annoying people by posting more because the people that want to see your content will see it. That makes sense. Number three, you don't want followers here that don't even want to see your products or your content. So if they people want to follow you, good. They weren't meant for you. So you want to post as much as possible. The more you can post, the better.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. What you said about unfollowing, people are gonna unfollow anyway. And it's better for you not to have them following you than to have them following you. Because if they don't want to follow you, then what's the point? And they're not going to engage. What's the point in having them? It's a vanity metric at that point.
This is good. I haven't asked any questions from the last time, by the way. These are all new. So, what role does sustainability and social responsibility play in the Gen Z's purchasing decisions? Wow. So I think we spoke about this before when it comes to the Cortez. Cortez, they asked all these people to bring their jackets, North Face,
Canada Goose,
giraffe,
all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Python, I'm just naming the animals now. Donkey, whatever. And they now gave all these jackets to charity. Yeah. And people thinking, wow, these people are cool. They're doing their bit for the community, or they're doing their bit for the environment or whatever. What role does social responsibility and sustainability play in the way and the psyche of getting Gen Zs to be a buyer of my product?
Oh, for sure. I feel like we've seen examples of just like Gen Zs are very proactive in terms of like when they dislike something, they will let you know about it. Like Gen Z started cancel culture essentially, where like cancel culture, for those that don't know, is the idea that you can post something, and if it doesn't resonate with people or feel like it's offensive, they will cancel you, which means that they'll stop buying from you, they'll stop following you. Of course, I feel like it depends on how strong your brand is, where sometimes it doesn't have an effect. Like, Balenciaga, so recently, they got cancelled, but the stock price went up. So, if your brand is strong enough, then it might have less effects. But essentially, what I'm saying here is that Gen Zs are very conscious with what you are doing behind the scenes. And if there's things that they don't like with, they will speak up about those things and they will take action. So it does have a big effect.
And if that's a part of your brand, if that's something that you do as well, talk about it. Like if it's like you give a portion of what you make to a charity or to planting trees somewhere, talk about it. Because we actually like that kind of stuff. We're like, okay, cool. So they're helping the environment, an environment that I want to live in, and I'm growing up, I'm breathing this air. How can we make it better? So it's an addition. It's not like I need this to make the purchasing decision. It just helps the purchasing decision.
And also, like marketing is like dating. I feel like marketing dating is very similar in the sense that obviously when we go date, you find a wife or a girlfriend or a husband or a boyfriend, you find people that have the same values as you. You know what I'm saying? It makes you more attracted to them. So if you are a company that takes pride in planting trees, and then you're somebody that also takes pride in that, you're gonna resonate with that company a lot more. It's like dating, similar thing. So I feel like it allows you to find people that share your values, and that's how you can create more purchases. Because when people feel like you share the same values, like magic happens.
It's a brand thing as well.
I like that analogy. Yeah. But is that yours, or did you read it somewhere?
Bit of both.
The dating one.
Oh, the dating. Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
Bit of both. Yeah. Now, do you know what? Okay, so I see the benefits. I see the point of demonstrating a social side of you, right? But what would you say to people that think, oh, that's a bit long, or people that are not doing that side doesn't come natural to them? They're not bad people, but they don't plant trees, or they don't really have a charitable arm. What would you say to those sorts of businesses, knowing that the Gen Z audience are, let's say, a woke generation or a woke audience? What would you say to those businesses that may not necessarily be doing that?
No, it's not essential.
I was about to say it's literally not necessary.
But like,
it's not something. It's not a necessity for you to have as a business. So that's why I said it's a nice to have. It's like, oh, they do this too. That's great. But it's not a thing of like that is gonna make my purchase decision. Oh, they do this. I'm doing that. Yeah. But if it aligns with what you do, so let's say for example, I don't know, you women, right? I just said random women. So let's say for example, you support women in like women's running. Your business is helping women to run faster and better, right? It might be breast cancer. You might support breast cancer because that goes along with what you do. You serve women, and some of them may have been affected by that, or may have family members or friends that may have been affected by that. Does it align with your brand? Because that can help building the brand and building people's relationship towards you, because then they'll start choosing you over the other people who help people to run and all that kind of stuff. So it helps with brand.
No, that's
but also I feel like life, we talk about business here, but life's about contribution. I feel like if you're not contributing to making the world a better place and where you left off, then what are you really doing here on this? So I find it hard to believe that people don't have any contribution they want to make to the world. I'm pretty sure you do. If you can tie it into your business, great.
That's good.
I like that. Law of reciprocity too.
That's good. Can tick that off. So, how can small businesses create an authentic brand that resonates with Gen Zs?
I feel like, so here, where I go over here is that we're two Gen Zs, of course, but I feel like you need to ask the right questions. Like I spoke about this last time. Like I was in the there's a focus group. I'm an ambassador for MQ, which is one of the leading mental health charities. I made like a focus group, and we were discussing what can we do to help people suffer with mental health in the cost of living crisis. As you mentioned, cost of living crisis, mental health taking a hit. We were sitting there with myself, other ambassadors. We had doctors there. We had other, corporate leaders there. And I said to them eventually, said, "This is still great, but where are the people that we're trying to help? Like we're here hypothesizing on these assumptions, on all these what they might need. How about we just ask them? So if you've got a business now and you want to help target Gen Zs, you don't know what resonates with them or what they need, ask them. And I feel like you'll save yourself so much time and energy by like make assumptions or whatever, but just go and ask them. I feel like that element of things is getting lost. Just asking your demographic, what do you want? How can I serve you? And then you go from there.
That's big. Like, how can you serve them? Like, asking them, just literally ask them questions, or get someone who's from that audience and say, okay, cool. What do I need to do? Cool, I'm gonna do it. And one thing I said to Austin recently, I think that was, what was his name? Was it Timothy Army? He said, when someone who's talking to you about something that you like, he's in a place that you want to be, and they're talking to you and they're giving you information, just shut up and listen, and then take action on what they say.
No, of course, I feel like there's other ways. So like, if what we're doing is working, then clearly you already have it with them. Like Gen Z, we're packing out events. So like, I'm guessing what we're doing already. So don't reinvent the wheel. Keep doing what's working. That's one from you. But if what you're doing isn't working, it means that what you're doing isn't resonating with them. So you got to go out there and do some research. Go and ask them like, what is this about this content that isn't working? And I feel like the more time we have these conversations, especially even diversity inclusion, the more we ask black people, how can we better serve them to get you into these environments, you'll see a lot more impacts. Yeah.
So going back to the persona game. So Suzy Sue, I'm trying to reach 1,000 people. I'm trying to get 1,000 sales. What are you saying to Suzy Sue that that Suzy Sue should speak to somebody in the Gen Z community to find out how I can sell this to you, or what?
What did she do again?
Scrunchies.
Okay, so you're saying she wants to help Gen Zs?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would do is essentially what businesses are things that solve problems. So they're problems they make people's lives easier. Yeah. So what I'll do is I want to ask Gen Zs. I'll ask them, what are your problems right now? What is about your current scrunchie that is bothering you? Just ask, listen. They will tell you, oh well, the quality is not that great, or like I don't like how it's not recyclable, or it's not great for the environment, or like it's a bit uncomfortable. Now you've got a database of problems with scrunchies, and then you can create a product here that solves that problem. Now you've got business that solves the problem. Yeah. And then you can advertise how you solve those problems through content, through social media. So that's where I'll start. I'll understand you what problems is my scrunchie solving. So I'll ask those questions, like what problems are you currently facing? Then I'll think of a product that can help that. Then in terms of finding content that resonates with them, one will come from posting 1,000 times on TikTok, because you'll post 10 different videos with different things, and then some will stick, some won't. Yeah. Some of it will come from like, you put it all together. It's not one method. Some will come from competitors. So who else has got getting views on scrunchies? How can I copy them?
Look at their comments as well.
And how can I implement what they're doing that's working for my market strategy? Now you've got the quantity aspect of things, the trial and error. You've got the competition aspect of things, the observing, taking notes, and then you've got the going out there and asking, what do you want to see? What content do you want to see? That's really powerful.
What are some of the common mistakes that small businesses make when trying to market to Gen Zs?
I'd say maybe, as we said before, using the wrong platforms. So trying to get them in the wrong place where the fish aren't at, as Austin loves fish at this moment in time. So if they're trying to fish in the swimming pool, they're not going to get anything because it's only humans they're going to catch, and no one really wants to catch a human.
Yeah.
So what I would say is that's number one. The one mistake is that they're trying to go to the wrong place.
Yeah.
Number two, producing the wrong kind of content. Right, so if you're producing the wrong kind of content, you're not going to attract the right fish, right? You're not going to attract the right kind of audience towards you because you're putting out the wrong stuff in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would say going forwards, but then those two are definitely where I'd start.
Well, first of all, I'm pescatarian.
Go on.
I'm joking.
I know you're not. So that's what I
but cool. So I feel like we guess a lot of these things, mistakes. So number one, maybe thinking that your first post will go viral on Gen Z. So not give yourself enough time or quantity to actually see the effects of social media, not doing it properly, thinking that you can do it overnight. Next is obviously the fishing analogy. What pond are you fishing in? And then essentially not understanding their audience or not work with people that do understand them. So not either paying somebody or work with somebody that doesn't understand their audience, or not asking the right questions to understand them, like being selfish with it, thinking that what do I want to see? No, it's not about you, but what do they want to see? Like it's about thinking even things like, oh, I don't look good here, so I'm not going to share this content. Like are you making content to look good, or are you making content to impact people, to build a business? So
would you advise people to have a plan when they're approaching marketing to Gen Zs? Because something that may have worked 10 years ago might not work now. Something that works for people that are 30 plus might not work for people that are 13 to 20. Is having a plan and a strategy advisable?
Yeah, for sure. A flexible plan, yes. So I was at the expo a couple of days ago. Krept was there, and Sasha. For those that don't know, Krept as a music artist, he also runs a leading, let me not say leading, but he runs a baby hair care brand called
one of the
Nala.
fastest growing.
And is the fastest growing?
One of the fastest growing.
I don't know get the facts wrong.
So. One of the fastest growing in its niche, in what they're doing. It's one of the
so he sold out in 10 minutes at them two, and then they're in Boots. Sold out in Boots in 10 minutes. So made £1 million sales in the first 6 months in business. So he was saying how, like, before he actually launched it, he had a 2 to 3 month plan before that. So 2 to 3 months he had a marketing plan there. Given, of course, he's Krept, and he obviously he's been doing this for years, so he knew what would work. Similar to me, I feel like when I release, I kind of know what would work because I've been in the game. But that's the reason why maybe you should hire somebody that has been in the game, so that you can work with them, save you some time and some money. But if you haven't got money, you've got time. And I would assume that if you've got time, maybe you haven't been doing it for that long. So I feel like when you're starting out, it's difficult to have a plan. I think you should have some sort of plan, of course, because you might have deadlines to hit, all these things. But we say you failed to plan to fail, or fail to prepare to fail. So you got to have some sort of plan. But when you are starting out, a lot of it is trial and error. A lot of it is seeing what works. Then when you do see what works, then you make a plan off that. So when I go to release an event, for example, or my fashion brand, because I've been in the game for so long, I kind of know what audience want to see and what works. That's not me saying I won't try new things. But and essentially, if you are new to the game, you got to see what works. So you got to have a rough plan, which heavily is trial and error. And then when you become established, definitely have a plan in place for at least 2 to 3 months, and constantly review that plan as you go along.
Yeah. Emphasis on the rough, like a rough plan. It doesn't have to be something which is do this, then this, then this, then this. It's a rough plan. So when you get started, it can actually still be flexible. So you can still do other things that you incorporate into it once you've got some data. Because the biggest thing is getting data, because you won't know what you're gonna encounter before you get the data to actually tell you this is what it is.
But what I'll say though, it also to be consistent. So I feel like when you've got plans, and I find this a lot. So I know, Monday I'm going to post something to with this. I might say exact post, but I might say Monday is, so let's take my personal brand, for example. Instagram, I do 4 posts a week for my vlog, 2 posts for my podcast, and 1 post just directly from Instagram, maybe 1 photo. So having a plan there helps you be consistent, as opposed to just freestyling every single Monday, or what should I post today? Now I know Mondays for this, choose for this, and it helps be consistent. So say from that avenue of things, having a plan will allow you to be consistent. So having the idea of like, cool, Monday I'm going to post this, Tuesday I'll post this, having that there will be way more consistent.
And it will allow you to bulk produce too. So if you already know what's coming out, then you can bulk produce on, like, let's say for example, instead of shooting every like, let's say for example, you shoot on a Tuesday, then a Friday, then next week it's Monday, then Wednesday and Sunday. Instead of doing that, you could shoot maybe once every other week, maybe it's every Saturday, every other week, just the whole day is just devoted to creating content for your business. And that's just the whole day, right? Because you've planned out what you're going to be posting and what it's going to do for you. And of course, it can change over time. And even though some of the bulk produced content might not be relevant in your new plan that you make, it will still be made. And even if you do still go ahead, you might be able to tweak it a little bit. Just the main thing is that it's there for you to put out.
Yeah, I always have a rough plan before you go into it, so you can be consistent, so you know when you're going to post at what time. Then assess it often. So if last month those posts that you did do on Tuesday, for example, didn't do well, change it. So like what I did, like even now I'll give you my plan now, but it wasn't like that from the beginning. We don't do 4 vlogs now, 2 podcasts, because our podcast clips now aren't doing as well. So I'm saying, cool, they're not doing as well, let me focus on the vlog clips a bit more. So I have that understanding. But if podcasts would start doing really well all of a sudden, I'll be like, let me cut down the vlogs a little bit and do more podcasts. So it's about assessing it as you go along as well.
Yeah. What are some of the tools that, so you talked about making content, right? What do I need to make content? What equipment-wise, software-wise, tools-wise, what do I need to make a content?
Ultimately, you can start with one of these. This is an iPhone, but I'm just talking about phones in general. You can really start with a phone. These have so much capabilities. It's crazy. This can shoot 4K.
Did you know, that
4K.
Today's phone, is better quality than what they used to shoot videos with in the 90s.
I think it was a Godfather.
Or the 80s.
I think they're better than the cameras they used to shoot the Godfather.
So
in your hand.
That's more, and the Godfather, like, that's everywhere. But like in general, the whole industry or the movie industry, your phone is better than what they used to record back then. So that's your answer. Literally
your phone. You can do so much. You can use so in terms of particular softwares, so of course you've got TikTok, and they've got the inside the platform editor, but you can also use a platform called CapCut. So CapCut allows you to edit like videos and all that kind of stuff, add in interesting transitions and such. But I'd actually opt for people to use the platform editors, because they actually push a lot more and a lot better than things that are edited outside of the platform.
Not CapCut.
Not
the only reason,
not CapCut.
Because
Why not?
TikTok's bought CapCut, or like they've got like they're in partnership. So they're partly owned or partnership. So TikTok actually wants you to use CapCut. That's why you see on TikTok there's a lot of CapCut templates.
Yeah. True.
Reason being because they're connected. So Instagram doesn't like CapCut, but however TikTok does like CapCut. However, honestly speaking, from what I've seen, if the video's good enough, it will be pushed. TikTok's not gonna think, oh, I hate CapCut. Sorry, Instagram's not gonna think, I hate CapCut. They're gonna push the video. If the video is that good,
they'll push it.
But
it's just a lot easier for the platforms to push it if it was created on that platform. Sorry, just like LinkedIn as well. Things that are made on that platform or posts that are made on that platform do well or better than posts that are maybe scheduled on a different, like a third-party platform or created somewhere else.
I find that myself. That's why I've implemented in-app Instagram posts now. Reels. I don't know if you've seen them. I do a lot of templates now from directly from Instagram, and they do better because. And then when you do things native to the platform, it will push it more, just natural. They want you to use things on their platform. So see how you can put that into your strategy.
So like utilizing things like Hootsuite is not. Would you say it's not like if you need to do that, but if you can to do it to schedule stuff and utilize the in.
I think Hootsuite's alright,
It's not that it's bad. It's just that you can get more reach by doing in app. So if you can, then do it in app. But if you can't, then Hootsuite will just allow you to post on multiple.
But Hootsuite is scheduling though. I don't think that'll have too much impact.
Platforms they still do have an impact on particular platforms, but it changes all the time. So this is why I always say get data, because then you're able to see in the back end, okay, this is getting less impressions. Why is that? Is it because of the content, or is it because of the fact that I'm uploading it through Hootsuite? So let's say, for example, you upload stuff through Hootsuite for 2 weeks, then the next 2 weeks out of a month, so 2 weeks Hootsuite, 2 weeks not Hootsuite, which posts have done better on an average? And then if there's not much difference, then go for Hootsuite, because it just make things a lot easier for you.
But I think the main thing I'm trying to say here is that it's the editing's the main thing. So obviously Hootsuite, as Jonathan mentioned, has got impact, but it's editing. So if you edit outside the app, will have less reach than if you edit inside the app. So Instagram, when you open the app, you can take a picture from Instagram, take videos on Instagram. They've got effects there, filters there, templates there. If you use the templates that Instagram gives you to create content, it will get pushed further. Same with the trending sounds as well. If you use sounds directly from Instagram, it will be pushed further than if you use sounds outside Instagram. So always think about, is it necessary to use outside Instagram? So think about, although Instagram is a bit bad when it comes to templates, but think about, cool, how can I implement directly edit within the Instagram app to produce content?
No, that's very, very important to know, because even like some of the stuff that we do heavily pushed out through or via Hootsuite. Some stuff are pushed out organically through the actual in-app platforms, but now knowing that if doing it in-app is better, I'm gonna go check the data.
Please do check
if that correlates with what's been said, and then if that's actually what's happening, then doing it in-app is.
What I do as well is I just bulk it up, like you mentioned, like on a weekend, and then what I do, I'll put my drafts. So when it comes to the time, like, if I'm gonna go, I just go to my drafts and just post it. So I ain't got to actually make it on the go. I can have my draft ready to go. When the time comes, just post it up.
And that's why I always stress to people, just test. Just test, because different things will work at different times. It's weird. Like algorithms will allow for certain things and they won't allow for certain things. So you just always have to test.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
It's a journey, not a destination. Marketing.
My final question. What's the ultimate thing that small businesses and startups need to be mindful of to win with Gen Zs?
One thing, as we said earlier, I was just going to be reiterating the point, is where are we? And matter of fact, who are we? I think is a better one as well. Who are we? Who are we as an audience? What do we like? Where do we like to go? What are we interested in? Who are we interested in? Understanding the audience. That's number one. Because when you can understand Gen Z, then you know how to market to Gen Z. You know how to build a relationship. Before the marketing, you know how to build a relationship with Gen Z. So you'll be able to understand them on more layers than one. That's number one, I'd say.
For me, if I could pick one big thing, I feel like it ties into everything else, is don't be selfish with your content. What I mean by that is that don't think about yourself. And I mean that from every single layer. From, as I look good in this video, I'm not going to post it. Because that video might be the one video that goes viral. And you know, who knows, you might find your boyfriend from that video. You might think, oh, you look great in it. But that's another topic. But like, don't be selfish. Think about how it helps them on the other side. So no matter what you post, think about, it's not about me. It's about them. So I say, and I was thinking like, cool, I think this is a great video. They should as well. No, it's not about that. What do they want? I feel like always being outward in sense that, cool, what do they want? Ooh, that's my one big tip. Don't be selfish with your content. Don't be self-absorbed with your content. Think about how can it benefit the end user.
I say another thing is just providing value. Because I feel like we reiterate the same points, but it's similar stuff, providing value. If you provide value, then people will listen. And that's just a general thing. That's not necessarily a Gen Z thing. People will listen when you provide value. That's it. So whether it's in your particular niche, it's around what you do, it's about what you do, it's how someone can do the same thing, provide abundant value. That's another thing I'd say.
So you've got one offer for you guys today.
Yeah. So we're going to start off with the consultancy. We have 4 pillars that we cover. So first of all, we have strategy. We call these the spec pillars, right? So SPEC. We have strategy. So that's like social media strategy and what we do in terms of social media, how to build a content plan, how to build a content strategy, how to build a social media strategy. Then we have personal branding. So we cover like LinkedIn and Instagram and whatever platforms that you would like to grow on. We cover that. We help you with that. And this is all consultancy. We just tell you exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to put it. And we also, another thing that we do is we actually help people become superstars within their company, like LinkedIn and Instagram superstars within their company. But that's another conversation. If you want information,
it's another package. Yeah.
That's another package, but you can let us know. And I went to the wrong slide. And also events. So we had the S, we had the P, we have also the E. Events. So we help you with running your events and like your networking events and such, so internal and external.
So the reason why I'm saying that, because if you look at the event sector, and this is a top tip for you guys that I do events, and the marketing that you get from one event and the connection you make with your audience when you're at the event is much more powerful. Like when you're telling people about the great things you do and they're right there in front of you, it's more powerful than they might see on an ad on TikTok. So we think that events are a great way to find a strategy where you can put events into your marketing strategy, into your marketing scheme. Like you see, you launch events, very, very effective. Yeah. So like having that connection, in-person events with people, and we kind of show you how to do that as well. So it's obviously we do a few packages, but this is our consultancy one. The reason why I think it's beneficial today, because that we don't want to fish for you. We want to teach you how to fish. And if you need to, we can also fish for you as well. But I think the first step is to know how to fish. Not so you can do it, but also so that you can hire better, you can hire well. Like an agency can't fool me because I know what I'm doing. I know, you know what, I know that's not true. So what we're doing is equip you with the knowledge now that we do go out there, whether it's for yourself or for hiring, you understand, yeah, what am I looking for? What does a good market agency look like? What is good marketing? So you gotta have the knowledge first. And
then the C of spec is content creation. So the exact type of content to create, when to create it, who to create it, and stuff like that. So similar to the strategy. Also sourcing a high engagement influencers. So we even within our network, we have access to a lot of high engagement influencers, people who are doing very, very well on their social media platforms for many different niches. And we have access to getting even more if the moment calls for it. Also weekly consultancy sessions for 3 months. So it'll be every single week we'll be meeting and we'll be talking about particular topics, any of these 4 pillars, and we will go through, we would obviously display the strategy beforehand, and then we talk through the whole thing as the weeks progress over that 3-month period. Also frequent feedback on the strategy. So let's say, for example, you're implementing a strategy, you'll get frequent feedback on how it's going, what's going wrong, what's going right, and how we can improve it. and also social media campaign analysis. So we actually analyze the campaigns that you're running, similar to the feedback too, and that's everything that's included.
So of course, like I know a lot of consultancy, you might get a one-off kind of call, which can be beneficial, but we do that as well. But also the ongoing relationship is really important because we can see directly, cool, don't do that no more, do that, or I will try this. So I feel like the ongoing is really, really powerful. It's that when you get a one call, you do it and it doesn't work out, we can then advise you beyond that to let you know, cool, I will try this, I will try that.
And it's usually 7,395 or 495 for 3 months. But we wanted to give you guys a 25% discount, everybody that's watching this, and that'll be 5,625 for 3 months. And if you do have any questions, then you can ask us at our email address, which will probably be down here or down below somewhere. And I believe it's info@GenZ Club.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so works up between 1,000 to 2,000 a month, which isn't too expensive. You look at the value you're getting from it. So yeah, if you are interested, look at info@thegenzclub.com, and we can have further discussions on that as well. So info@thegenzclub.com. But also my LinkedIn's going to be there. Austin Okolo LinkedIn, Jonathan. So drop me a message on LinkedIn as well, and we can go from there.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, ask us on LinkedIn. And this is just something that me and Austin are doing in partnership because we understand that we both have knowledge in this field, so we wanted to bring it to people and really provide some value.
Yeah. So you heard it from the guys. If you've got any questions and also want to inquire further into the offering that they've got, do go ahead, reach out to them, and there'll be some information in the descriptions of this video and of this podcast episode as well. I just want to thank the guys once again for their time coming back in. Brought a lot of gems again, brought a lot of vim and fire again. Any final words, any final marks that you want to leave before?
I'd say document, don't create, and don't overthink it. Like, I think that's something that Austin's probably said like 5 times today because he likes to say it a lot. But don't overthink it, and document, don't create, because those are the 2 things that you need to actually create good quality content.
You're going to die one day.
Oh God!
It's true.
So like you can have a live a life you're proud of, or you can have a lot of regrets. So I'll say just don't live with any regrets and start by starting.
All right, he ended well on that one. I didn't know where he was going to go.
But I got that from the funniest video ever. We're not funny, but it was funny. If someone asked Guy V, they were like, one piece of advice, please. He goes, you're going to die. That was his advice, you're going to die. He was like, yeah, that's advice. I just thought that was so funny, but it's true though.
Yeah.
Eventually, like, that's very motivating, knowing that, your time here is limited. But that should spur you towards action, towards contribution, towards impact. So yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no. On that note, we're going to end it there. Thank you guys for joining us on this special episode of... Gosh, we've been going for so long.
The UK business forums. Make sure you subscribe.
Make sure you tune into these guys on the profiles. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Austin.
Of course.
And we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you later.
See you later.
There we go.
Amazing.